Greetings! My name's Ian Vargo, and I'm here at the Art Institute of California, Inland Empire, and for today's tutorial for the Pro Audiophiles, I'm going to be comparing the Master Buss Compressor on the SSL Duality to the Waves plug-in version of that compressor. Firstly, let's learn a little bit more about the Master Buss Compressor. On the hardware version of the compressor, we have control over the threshold, attack with a range of 0.1 milliseconds up to 30 milliseconds, ratio, makeup gain, and release with a range of 0.1 seconds up to 1.2, and some sidechain and surround options. So here we see in Pro Tools, I've got an uncompressed version of this song, which is Black Widow by Ugly Ugly Words. Make sure to check it out on iTunes. And then various printed versions of the analog compressed song. Okay, so let's take a listen to the version with no compression whatsoever. So it's sort of a loud rock and roll tune with a lot of screaming and electric guitars. And of course, the SSL compressor, like many other compressors, will behave very differently depending on the source material. So now let's take a listen. These are all the different analog printed versions right here. And I took note of the settings as I printed them, okay? So first, let's take a listen. We've got with a 10 millisecond attack time with an auto release. Generally, I like to keep slow attack times, especially on the Master Buss, and the auto release does a really good job on both the analog and digital versions of the compressor. I try to keep the threshold set in such a way that I'm only compressing between 1 to 2, maybe 3 dB at most, because as you will hear, once you start compressing more, you really compromise the transient of the kick and snare drum, and it really brings up the room of the drums and the vocals and other instruments in a way that is not always pleasing. Okay, so now let's take a listen to version 30 millisecond attack time with auto release. So very similar to the other version that I played, and really not that much different than the version without much compression. I sort of just like using the SSL compressor for subtle color and gluing the instruments together. Now we've got a very fast attack and slow release. So what you're going to hear is the kick and snare drum really being compromised. It does, however, do a cool thing to the electric guitars. So what you could do is just send your electric guitars and bass and maybe vocals through the SSL compressor and leave the drums out. Okay, let's check out now fast attack, slow release. Does sort of get rid of the transients, but brings up the rooms in sort of a cool way. Here we have totally slammed, fastest attack, fastest release. So while it does give a sort of explosive quality to everything, let's take a listen again to the uncompressed version, and you'll hear we sort of miss out on the kick and snare drum. And something that I often use is a setting sort of with a very slow attack and fastest release time, if not auto, and once again, only about 1 to 3 dB of compression. Okay, so now let's take a listen to the digital version, and we are going to open up this plugin right here. There are some differences between the hardware and software versions, different ratio, release, and attack settings, and this special fade-out feature. So let's take a listen. I'm just going to poke around here. That would be a pretty safe setting for me. I might even use a slower attack time. Let's try auto release. Sort of lifts everything, brings everything forward, and adds a little bit more intensity. Let's change the threshold here. And turn up the makeup gain. If you want to really go overboard, let's go with a fast attack. And as you can hear, the kick and snare drum are almost totally lost. Let's try the fastest release, a little less makeup gain, and try the different ratios. So overall, if I were to compare the analog and digital versions of the Master Buss Compressor, I would say definitely you get a cooler vibe out of the analog version. Perhaps, you don't need to recall when using the digital version. But truthfully, if I had the amount of money, the several thousands of dollars it costs to purchase the analog version, I would probably just go with other collection of plugins or other outboard gear. It does have a cool gluey sound. It brings everything together and makes a more cohesive mix. But overall, I would not say it's one of my top go-to compressors. Thank you for taking the time to check out this tutorial for the Pro Audiophiles. Make sure to check out Ugly Ugly Words on iTunes. We have open houses here at the Art Institute of California, Inland Empire, if you'd like to know more about audio production and the SSL Duality. Once again, this has been Ian Vargo. Thanks.